Hey guys, how we doing? I'm JC with HangarReady, and we've got a good show, I think, set up for tonight. With me tonight, as always, are my partners in crime. Jolly, how you doing this evening?
Doing great. Good evening, everybody.
Followed by Jolly is Turing. How you doing this evening, Turing Atmos?
Wonderful. Glad to see you.
Good. Then we've got Kelly Josh. How you doing, Josh?
I'm great. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining another show.
Cool. And then we have Nomidius.
Hey, evening.
Good evening. And finally, last and certainly least, we have Hendrosa.
What's going on, everybody?
I'm teasing. We love Hendrosa for the most part. Okay. I think we've got a pretty good show that the guys came up with. I'm feeling a hair bit under the weather, but Jolly and Turing and Namidius and Callie, Josh all came together and came up with a great show. So I think our first thing is that we're going to go over 311. It released since our last episode, and yeah, I'm excited about 311. Maybe there's some stuff in there that's pretty fun. Turing, I think you're going to lead us off about that. Okay.
Sure. So I was the person who did not follow what I had been taught in school. And when Jolly put in a little note that said, "Hey, nobody's dropped anything about 311," I did. And so I get stuck with introducing the segment for tonight. So thanks, Jolly. I fell for it again. We're going to go over just
Rascally
a few
rabbit.
just a few things in 311 because there's been a lot of stuff that's dropped. So quickly, we're going to cover cargo decks, the relaxing of the armistice around space stations, the new Origin 100 series, some inventory mechanics, and round that out with some in-game events that SIG currently has. So the first segment is cargo decks, and I've entitled this, they look great, sound great, but that's about it. So far, there are no new cargo or trade-related missions in the game. In fact, you're still stuck with what I call the slow trifecta, the 8,000 credit 3 package deal that you're lucky if 50% of the time the thing works. So that's about it. And it's kind of a bummer to me because I really thought they would have some additional trade and cargo play that's there. What can you do in the cargo deck? First off, it looks fantastic. So the art team at CIG has done a fantastic job. It really is immersive. You feel like the only thing missing is the machine oil and the ozone smell from some arc welder somewhere. I mean, it really does look like you're in a cargo deck. The sound of it is there. So both the visual and effects guys and the visual art guys and the sound effects team have done a wonderful job. There is a new place, a cargo ship rental terminal that's there. It's very limited in choice. I think just 3 ships right now. The Freelancer, the Cutlass Black, and the Avenger Titan, if I remember that correctly.
I think so, yeah.
So that you can rent those, which is really strange since I think everybody still gets a free Freelancer, but you can rent it there too. So don't get fooled by the cargo ship rental terminal there. There's also a new mining shop area for the mining backpack, your multi-tool, and some work clothes if you want to look like a miner from Hurston. It's really good that they have the mining backpack there and the multi-tool. No longer do you have to trek all the way over to Lorville or some other place to get the multi-tool. These cargo decks are at the 3 planetary orbitals, so you won't see them at the rest stop. So really, there's some room for some future expansion. If there's some blank terminals at the admin desk, could be some trading consoles in the future. That's just a quick rundown. I don't know if any of the other guys have a quick comment before we move on.
I only have one. That's the it doesn't extends beyond what we found at the cargo decks, but miner's clothing. When am I going to wear that in the game? I mean, why does it even exist? I'll say the same thing about all the other civilian. I'll call it civilian. Let's put it that stuff I can wear that I can't go outside in. I'm not sure what exists in the game at all. I guess someday they may want to have a. You want to immerse yourself in a rave party at New Babbage or something like that.
Well, Jolly, I think maybe they have talked in the past, and it's been quite some time about professions. Maybe if you want to end up being the guy that works the refinery deck, or the cargo deck or something like that, then you've got a set of clothes. But I agree. I mean, they're really not useful anywhere. On some of the planets where you and moons where you mine, you were going to die really quick if you wear those things. So yeah.
He has a point. Like, I think the Argus helmet's a perfect example there. It's an open face helmet, and there's no gameplay that benefits from that right now. Zero.
Yeah.
And there was a bug for a while where it worked in vacuum, but that was a bug, and they fixed it. And there were some people that were upset because that was their favorite helmet.
Sounds like fashion to die for.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Well, I mean,
Really.
in all fairness, the mining outfit will work on Hurston. I mean, it's a reasonably temperatured planet with with oxygen. You're not going to die there very quickly from exposure. So, I mean, if you wanted to go mining, especially if you wanted to like drive out of town in a vehicle and go somewhere and go mining, it may make sense to have that versus have a flight suit and armor
Well,
on.
Okay, now I haven't put on a set yet, but is there storage in the civilian attire?
I don't know.
So I carry my water or my food as I'm out there mining?
I have no clue because I've never worn it either. I was just trying to be devil's advocate.
Looks good on the mannequin in the shop. That's about
Yes,
it.
it does.
The
Leave it
only time I wear the civilian clothing is when it is the big in-game events where they're showing off ships and I'm
Yeah.
streaming and I don't want to run around in a flight suit
There you go.
Yeah.
on Area 18. That's the only time I ever do it.
So again, I was looking forward to some expanded play. Perhaps that will come in the future, maybe in a 311X patch or when they get beyond it. But right now, the cargo gameplay is still exactly like what it was in 310. So with maybe a little bit of fixes to the actual trading in the trading terminals with all the other exploits that were going on.
Yeah.
The next segment is the relaxing of the armistice zones around the space stations. We knew this was coming. It's been put out in several Spectrum posts that they have. Basically, what you have now is ship weapons are free to fire around most stations. And I say most stations because there is a section near Port Olisar where you cannot, even though you haven't landed, even though you're still in space, your ship is not going to, the weapons aren't going to fire. Doesn't mean you can't be fired upon because we've been hit by missiles in that section, but your ship weapons will actually turn off. First-person shooting is still restricted. You can't pull your weapon out while you're on your ship in space around there or on the station itself. And you'll still get an armistice zone warning just like you did before that you're entering it. If you engage in ship combat with anything other than a player that's already tagged red, I believe you get a warning. After that, you get some mighty big firepower that comes down in the improved station defenses, more accurate turrets, and some size 6 and, believe it or not, size 10 floating turret stations out there. Yeah. And we've also been teased a little bit, coming soon, a new crime stat heat map or a mechanic that they're putting in that's going to help trigger the security response to the station once things start heating up a little bit. Apparently, it's supposed to take into account all the crime stats for players in that region and spawn the ultimate or appropriate force to you. Think a lot like EVE Online, Concord response potentially. Any thoughts from the group on that?
Boo, hiss.
Well,
the griefers are going to be happy.
I got a different take on that from you, Jay. It's like, I've said this before, but sooner or later you got to take off the floaties and see which kids sink. Okay,
Sure.
Sooner or later they have to take it down. They see where the holes are in the system, but there's going to be some pain in the short term with that. They have to do it sooner or later.
I think it's just perfect to pair that with the Kill 50 event to get the Vandal helmet.
I was going to mention that, Josh. That what Numidius says is true until they brought the 50 PK kill event that's happening.
True.
So right now it's just, it really, you're lucky to get your ship in time.
Well, there's if they had not improved the defenses around the station so dramatically, I'd say it was a bad idea. But they did improve them. I was coming back at a full prospector coming into PO, and I had a red pop up behind me. All I did was fly beyond the Forward All-Star stayed close to it. And I just kept the station between myself and the red, and sure enough, the guns took them out. Pretty damn quick, I might add.
Mm.
And it came in for a normal landing. So they have compensated for the fact that there's no fire zone by putting proper defenses out there.
And that's good. I completely agree.
It's also good news for bounty hunters who are having a problem with their marks hiding in the armistice zone and not being able to be engaged. Now they can't hide there.
Good point.
One quick question from the chat: doesn't pad ramming result in an immediate ban if found? I don't believe so. I believe
No.
You will get fined or your ship impounded, but no, you do not get banned for pad ramming.
Yeah, I think it's just a jail sentence like normal.
Yeah.
Androsa, what are your thoughts on this?
So I was kind of testing it out the other day. I liked it. I was kind of going after a couple two batters in the verse there. But yeah, I mean those turrets are definitely upgraded. But I think that they're like S6 to S10 range.
There's a set of S6 and there's a set of S10.
Well,
So
it's actually 2 size 9s on the size 10.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
well, size 10 turret, size 9 weapon.
Yeah, I mean they definitely deal out the damage. I mean it makes pretty much quick work of anybody around there. So it's really cooled down. I was looking not necessarily to kind of go for the Vandal helmet the other day because for one I found out that it's not just 50 kills, it's 50 individual player kills. So you can't go after the same person. But yeah, when it brings folks in there, I mean it makes short work of them. So it's literally empty around over there.
Well, it's not just Port All-Star. It's all of the stations at this point
Yeah,
are set up
exactly.
that way. So if you can get into the station will protect you at least, unlike before.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed is when you pop out of Quantum at Port Olisar now, you can immediately begin calling for a pad. So they've closed the distance, I believe, in coming out of Quantum if you're going at least to that station.
Yep.
So that's worked.
Josh, what are your thoughts?
I welcome the change. I think like anything, there's going to be some difficulty in the implementation of it. I do find it hilarious about the kill opportunities that they're now giving for new in-game prizes. I honestly haven't gone to test it yet, but I do support it. I do think that the next step in being able to fire your personal sidearms or whatever in the station, I think that's part of the Wild West experience. So I'm good with it.
Definitely going to change the play environment. Being in a group that can cover each other's backs inside of a planetary area or a station and not get shot in the head is going to be critical, because you definitely can see some less than desirable folks that go out there and purposely try to grief people on like Port Tressler or something inside the station itself versus flying around outside of it.
Yeah, one thing I didn't mention in the cargo deck segment is that with the cargo decks have come a re-engineering of the space stations themselves. If you thought you were a lab rat in a maze when you were playing the alpha, you no longer have to live that actual experience by running through the space stations anymore. You can go and go to an in-transit elevator, which will take you to the various places inside the space station. So that has been a very positive change. Now, when you wake up in the hab, you're right there at the spawn terminals for your ships. They've listened to the community. They put some food and water right there at where you come off, rather than having to go dig all the way down into the main group. So that's really good.
They just
Wow.
haven't fixed Jolly's vending machines yet.
They
Not
haven't
yet,
fixed
but
the bit. No, you still can't drop a dime in Big Benny's or whatever and get something out. But if you're heading up to Everest Harbor, you can pick up a burrito at the burrito stand. I bet you that guy does a bang up business sitting right there.
I will
Yes.
tell you, I have one reason and one reason only I go to the cargo decks right now is to get that they sell cruise flow, which is pretty much my favorite consumable that I keep on me. That's my only reason to go there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was New Babbage was the only other place you could find that.
Yeah. So Grennan, to answer your question, the admin locations are now at the elevator stop called Galleria. So the Galleria contains the food court and the shops and the admin office, like you like you saw before in the station. The next segment is the 100 series. So CIG has released the Origin 100 starter series. There's a 100, a 125, and a 135. Basically, they mimic the 300, the 325, and if the 300 series had a cargo carrier that was worth anything, it would be the 335, which we don't have, but there's 135 as a cargo carrier. How they look and how they feel, I think, is basically a personal preference. They look like a scaled down version of the 300 series. To me, they don't look as sharp and as you're not driving the Mercedes anymore. You're driving the starter Mercedes that you would get. How they fly, I think they're still tweaking the mechanics of it. When they first came out in the PTU, they flew like bricks, man. They were not all that great, at least in my mind. But they have cargo space. They have pretty decent weapons, a bed, and I think they do a good job in matching the starter ships that are currently in the game, especially the Aurora and the Mustang. Don't think they're quite up to the Avenger yet as far as matching that. I think the Avenger is a better all-around multi-purpose ship than these two. So, Jolly, what are your thoughts on?
Yeah,
on the
I
new starter
pledged the
ships?
100i and I pledged the 135C. Now the 100i, I knew it was going to be an LTI marker, and it was. I've already traded it up to something. I'll be damned if I remember what the hell I bought with it, but another ship running with LTI, so I'm happy. The 135C I decided to keep a hold of. Now I still have an Aurora, which is part of the package. I've just left it there. The Aurora I used just to I want to go from point A to point B. I don't care if you blow up my ship on the route because I'm not going to modify this damn thing. I really don't care what happens to it. I just keep claiming it, and I'm happy. The 135C, like you said, it can carry some cargo, not enough to really make it matter. Unless you're going to carry extraordinarily high value cargo in it, it's really nothing there at all. It can carry boxes, which is nice. It has a bed, which is nice. But that's about it. Now, what it does have, which is the biggest advantage of this thing, is 700 quantum fuel. So it can move around the systems very well. And that's where it really becomes a step above both the Mustang and the Aurora. So, which I think are outside of being personal transports, both those ships are useless in my opinion. I would never take them into a fight. They can't really do any type of missions. So if you have one, just try to upgrade as soon as you possibly can. It's something else. I don't care what. I agree with you. I think that the Avenger's still a better ship, period. But for the cost, the 135C, I'm going to keep that one. I'll probably take my Aurora, which is part of the package, and I'll upgrade that to another ship that has LTI. So I'll upgrade that one too to something else. Don't know what yet. I'll find out in November probably. But the 135C I'll keep as my personal transport, just to go from point A to point B.
Has anybody flown the 125?
Yeah, it flies pretty much the same. I flew all three of them during PTU, and they've all handled about the same.
I'll say this. I actually like the 100 series design better than the 300 series. The 300 series is just way too far up off the ground. It takes way too long to climb up and get into the cockpit. I like the way that they have this where the door opens and you just basically walk in. You don't have to climb up. You can just crawl into it yourself. So, my opinion is that this is, an Avenger is better. Avenger Titan is probably the go-to starter ship, but if you wanted something a little less expensive, the 135 or the 100i would be a better starter ship than a Mustang or an Aurora, in my opinion. Not as good as the Avenger Titan, though.
Yeah. And Joseph, have you flown them?
Yeah, I've flown only the 100i, but I mean, Jay's right. I mean, it's very nice to get into. I do like the mechanics with how they went through and made it interactive. And I mean, it comes with some nice commodities. I mean, so does the Aurora, but you're right. For the bang for your buck, you're getting just a little bit better there. Until you start getting out of reach with some of the starter ships that a lot of folks refer to, such as like the Cutlass, like the Cutlass Black, but you're going to pay a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't really consider that a starter ship. I mean, I know you can buy it as a starter package, but it's not
right.
It's not really a starter ship.
A lot of people refer to that, or they refer to like the Avenger, the Titan.
Yep. Josh, did you have any comment on the flight mechanics?
I actually haven't flown the 100 series at all.
Good. Moving on. So
it's not a combat ship. He doesn't care
it's
about
it. It's not a combat ship. And it doesn't have a targeting pod. I'll just let you know.
Right. No targeting pod.
Useless. Unplayable.
The next segment is the new inventory mechanics. This is personal inventory mechanics. This is a point or a new release that I think CIG has gotten right, and they're on the right track. And I really like the new features that you can do with these inventory mechanics. Basically, they're building off the building block tech that it's now paying dividends. You've seen it when they re-engineered the front end when you go in, and you're seeing it here in the new inventory. Now, each armor segment that you had has a storage capacity and a storage quotient. You can access them separately. You can move items around between them. You can take items out of a compartments, although I think it's only limited to the rock at the moment. But that doesn't mean that that's just for testing. There, and add those to your inventory. And so my question to the group is this the beginning of the end for our infinite bag of holding as we move through?
I
I think, yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say, I think it is. I think we're going to probably get more storage options. I think they've mentioned backpacks like we have for the mining rig. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's kind of cool if you outfit a ship you have for different purposes, different weapons, whatever, for FPS purposes and whatnot. So I think it is, and I look forward to it as long as we can have those individual storage options, such as an extra storage container on your person, and then what you put in your ship.
I agree. I think we're headed that direction, but they've absolutely got to fix ships before the ability to store extra armor and extra flight suits and stuff in a ship and things of that nature. Because if you have like a Karak and you die and you lose your bag of holding, what do you do? What do you do when you respawn on a Karak or respawn on a Cutlass Red? There's not going to be anything there for you to throw on, no flight
Yeah.
suit.
I think you're going to see these uniform lockers, the lockers you see in the crew quarters, or even just being able to have a trunk of some sort being able to be used as a compartment, just like you would use a compartment on the back of a rock, or just like you use the compartment on your armor. You'll be able to load things in, load things out. Whether you'll actually see it initially, when they hang up when you hang up your uniform, will it appear in the locker or not? I'm not so much care about that, as long as I can access that compartment, see what the inventory is, and then take things out.
Yeah, and in larger ships, that's going to bring some. It's hold on, my wife is complaining about Hendros's internet connection. It resized him again. Anyhow, sorry. Moving on. I agree with you, but that brings in multiplayer gameplay. If you have a Karak, you're going to want to go in and load in a bunch of armor and a bunch of weapons, and then you're going to have to do inventory every time you decide to take it out. So it'll be a cool gameplay feature if and when they implement it.
Yeah, and it's also going to mean you're going to have to remember what you put where on your various ships and such. Nam, Hendrosa, do you have any comments?
Absolutely agree. This is not the first step, but it's one of the steps on the way they had to get out of the way to have the physicalized inventory, as they call it. They're going to have some sort of off-ship storage, in my opinion, before they force us before they take away the bag of holding. They're not going to be able to just force us to just be on a ship. They're going to have to be somewhere on a station, on planet side somewhere, a locker we
Player
can throw
housing?
stuff into. Player housing, that kind of thing. Yeah, good luck on that. It's going to be a while before we see that. But there's going to have to be some sort of station or planetary-based storage before they also force us to store stuff on ships.
I don't think player housing's that far off. I think that would be, believe it or not, would be something that would be fairly easy to do. If you went in and quote rented a room, or a room at the Azure Grand or whatever that thing is called, and you just went into the elevator and it had your floor kind of icon. You click there, you walk out and go to your door. Those could be spawned on the fly and not be and wouldn't be all that difficult to do.
Well, CIG, they don't have anything. They're gonna want to have like a concierge waiting at the door for you. with it.
Yeah, something like that. But at one time, if I recall, at least on Area 18, you could put things in your hab that you spawned in. We all used to take the little turtles, put them back in our hab, and when I spawned back in again, that little turtle was sitting right there on the desk in the hab that I was in. And you could also, if you remembered your room number and your floor number, as long as you were in that play session, you could go back to that room and get back into it. They took that away a couple patches ago. You can't, as soon as you walk out of your room, you can't go back into it, nor can you, nor will anything persist in the hab room that I'm aware of right now. But that used to be there.
That's what
And I
happens
think,
when you go
It did.
past checkout time.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. It's only by the hour.
That must be the Hurston ones. I don't know.
Single entry by the hour.
Yep. All right. So the last thing we want to talk about with the 311 release is not really a 311 release. It's coinciding with the time of the year, and that's the Halloween, or what do they call it? Season of the Vara, something like that. I don't know. But the Halloween event where you can actually earn items in the game by playing the game. I've heard it say by some of the streamers that and YouTubers that this is the first time you actually earn something in the game by playing the game. I tend to disagree, because you can earn credits and buy ships, and now they're persistent. So it all depends on how you couch earning, and since it's free to you just by doing the event. But that's really the lack of a better term, the scarecrow helmet for finding Benny-heng. A gameplay that I like, and that little Benny-heng thing is a bear to try to find if you don't know the way to do it. And then the Vandal helmet that you can get by uniquely killing 50 of your fellow players with either a glaive or a gladius. And if they had just left it to the glaive, that'd have been all right, but nobody would ever get the dang helmet, because that's like the worst ship in the game. But with the gladius, you can. And what you're seeing now is players organizing events to get those kills.
No.
So my personal opinion, which I'll go first, I think the scavenger hunt approach for the Benny-heng, I think, is a good idea. I personally do not like the 50-player kill event, especially with immediately coinciding with get rid of the armistice zone firing around the things. I'm not sure. I understand where it's coming from, and yes, it's not as onerous as I originally thought. I'm not getting killed every time I go into the game now, which for the first week was the case, because I think players are gaming the system in a sense that they are getting together in organized groups to get the helmet, rather than going around and trying to kill them. But
Here's
I'll
my
throw it out there.
comment. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt there.
Go ahead, Jay. Yeah.
Here's my comment on the subject. I know that ADI, which has a lot of online members, have been running player killer parties where they would go in and each kill each other once, kind of thing. And I know we've had some people successfully manage to do that and get the helmets, or helmet. So it's definitely being part of a large organization where you have a lot of players, where it's relatively easy over the course of a weekend to get 50 kills.
Mutually agreeable. So
Mutually agreeable, yes, so that you don't have anybody. They're not necessarily charging you and getting you thrown in prison. So
I have
Jay, are you
Go ahead.
advocating joining a large org, Jay?
Yeah, for some odd reason, I'm
Just
saying
wondering
that
why.
joining a large org might not be such a bad plan, especially if you want help with things like this.
Interesting. What was your comment?
They're good.
I was going to say, they're. I've heard a lot of talk about, why are they having, like these events to go through and get things where literally a lot of folks are not going to utilize. I mean, they're great events. I mean, I know it helps, stir up the community and things of that nature, but you kind of put them out of so many people's reach, and or it really just doesn't have an effect in the verse to where it's like, when am I going to wear this? We're going to raid a Vandal ship and put my Vandal mask on and blend in.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm with the dress with that. I think you're right, Tara. Now, do I mind the fact that this? Nah. I think you nailed it. You said, hey, it develops some enthusiasm what's going on. You're also 100% correct. There are parties out there. I have participated in myself. Now, I don't want the mask. I've got no kills. I think it's a stupid thing, and I'll never wear it. So why the hell do I want to bother with it? But I've been on a red, put myself out at Henge, and I go ahead and sit out there by myself in the open, saying, "Kill me, kill me." Hold on, let me get in front of your gun because you keep missing. Okay, there you go. Spawn in the red, come back out.
A little to
Who's
the
next?
left, a
Wants
little
kill
to the
me?
left.
And to the left, idiot. Hold on, let me just stand right in front of your gun. I actually had to do that a few times, but it's like I really don't care. I mean, if people are having fun with it, the good on them. Enjoy it. Um, but just it's not for me. I'll get the Benny-heng helmet, which is again something else I will not wear just because I like going to Benny-heng because it looks pretty cool. That's the reason I went out there to begin with. That plus to be a target for anybody else who wanted to shoot me. But you are correct. Absolutely, it cheapens the whole thing when you have 50 of us go out there and say everybody takes turns.
Yep.
Let's shoot each other. Okay, get a helmet. Yay!
I don't think CIG envisioned that. I don't believe they did when they thought up the
You mean
context.
CIG doesn't envision all of the needs of a large org? That sounds like a future episode.
Ooh.
Shots fired.
I
Tom,
will.
what are your thoughts?
Well, I will say this. I'll agree with some of the streamers you referred to the degree that this is the first time you could earn something in game and it appear on your account, as in going to my hangar on the website, meaning that it will still be there even when and if they do a full wipe when this game goes live. You will have that item. That doesn't go for anything you bought with AUEC.
That is true.
That is true.
That is
I'd say go subscribe. You get a hell of a lot more stuff.
But it's
Yeah.
also
Yes.
this also goes back to something they've promised some time back. Was when they talked about getting paint skins for your ship. They had said there were going to be skins and other things you would only get by doing some event in game. You wouldn't be able to just pay for it with real money. This is the first time we've really seen that, and it's nice to see them follow through on a promise like that.
Fair
Agreed.
enough.
But I would rather them work more on that and give us more of a variation than, working towards like an in-game helmet I'm never going to use.
I kind of like the hill horror helmet personally.
Which one's that?
It's a
Basically the hills
scarecrow.
have eyes type thing, with the
Oh, the Benny
The
Henge
mass
one.
killer one.
mass
Yeah,
killer.
Whatever.
Serial killer.
That
one.
appeals to me for some reason.
I don't know. I don't
So
know.
the guys I play with an ADI and I'll go. Hey, look, man. If you're not gonna wear the uniform, it's fine. You don't have to. It's not an op. Please understand. I'll probably shoot you.
If
I
you,
don't
if
mean
you show
to.
up with
I'm
one of those
sorry, but yeah, I
if
don't
you show
recognize
up
you.
with a bear
I'm
helmet,
shooting you.
you show up with a bear helmet, I'm shooting you. That thing is
Yeah.
scary. I'm not playing. Okay. Jay,
Some-
that's what I had for 311. I know there's a lot more out there that we
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
talked about for the segment. Things to come. Still waiting for the Star Runner to drop. That should be in a 311 X patch. I believe that's all the ship releases for this time. They've pretty much got everything in 311 that they're going to get that they've gone out. I will say that this has been probably one of the smoother releases of a patch. And we all remember last Christmas's dumpster fire that came out after the first of
Oh
the
my
year.
God, yes.
And then the next one, which I call Son of Dumpster Fire. Both of those were really tough. I do also believe that they're just about at the edge of their technology about rolling a lot more stuff out. They've got they've got server meshing, they've got iCache, and they've got a couple other things that they've got to get in. And when all that happens, I think it's going to look pretty interesting, and it's something to look forward to. So that's it for me.
Two more things. Reference 311. The first is the number that shall not be mentioned has gone down dramatically for me. I don't see it nearly as much as I used to. The other thing is party quantums seem to be working much better than they were in 310. So overall, I think 311 has been a success. I really, really do.
I
A
agree.
big step forward.
I completely agree. It's been a big success.